Hi, I'm Philip Sadler. Welcome to my yoga class. Let's just take a few moments here to sit and breathe. Go ahead and close your eyes. With your eyes closed, take in the world around you. I can hear the sounds of some cars, jet airplane, someone really flooring it. I can feel the breeze on my skin. Deepen your breathing through your nose. And open your eyes. Good, let's get started. Lay down on your mat. Set your blanket aside. And on your back, go ahead and lift your feet up off the floor. With your hands on your knees, I want you to cross your ankles and make your legs as relaxed as possible. And then with your hands on your knees, move your legs around in a big circle. And feel the back of your pelvis massaging into the mat. Then you can circle the other direction. Good. And then come to center. Keep your right knee in and extend your left leg out on the floor. Stretch through your left leg. Flex your left foot and spread the toes. And I want you to try and make connection with the back of your left leg down into the mat. Interlace your fingers behind your right thigh. And then now push your leg into your hands and tilt your pelvis forward so you get more of that lumbar curve. Good. Keeping all that, stretch your right leg up towards the sky. Both legs straight. Deepen your breathing. And on your next breath, bend your elbows and draw your leg towards your heart. And then back off on the stretch. Put your foot down. Release your hands from your leg. Shift your hips, rolling to the outside edge of your left hip, and cross your right leg over, your knee bent. Your right arm, reach it out to the side. Now I want you to make that right shoulder blade connect down into the mat. And then using your left hand, just give yourself a little bit of traction there. You can feel across the whole right side of your shoulder, your waist, your ribs. And then bring yourself back up to center. Straighten out your hips. Put both feet on the floor. And we'll do the other side. And bring the left knee in and stretch the right leg out. Reach through the right leg. Make that grounding action with your right leg firming down into your mat. Give yourself just a little bit of love in here by pulling your left knee gently towards your left shoulder, your left armpit. Good, then back off on the stretch. Interlace your fingers behind your left leg. And make this first action where you push your left leg, your thigh, into your hands. And that'll help you create this just a slight anterior tilt of your pelvis. Both legs stable, and then now bend your arms. Use the strength of your arms. Think of pulling your foot towards your head. Deepen your breathing through your nose. Then back off. Release your hands, put your foot down, and elbow twist to the other side. Push down into that left foot, lift your hips, roll them to the outside edge of your right hip, and then cross that leg over. Take your gaze out over your left hand, and then before you put too much pressure on your right hand and your left knee there, I want you to root the left shoulder into the mat. From your fingertips, draw into your shoulder socket. And then just give yourself a little bit of gentle stretch with your hand on your leg. Good. On your next breath, come back up to center. Straighten out your hips. Put both feet on the floor. Wrap your fingers around your mat. Get a good grip. And then I want you to pull from your hands into your shoulders and tuck your shoulder blades under. You can see how I'm doing that here. And then from there, lift your hips up. Come up into a bridge pose. Now you can either stay here with your hands holding onto your mat, right? Or you could release them. Some of you might even interlace your fingers behind your back, right? And another variation for some of us is to create these, what we call robot arms, elbows bent, fingertips pointing up towards the ceiling. Push down into your arms and curl your chest up. Push down into your arms and reach your legs forward, especially the outside edges of your thighs. Reach them forward. And then press through the feet, the inner and outer edge of your feet. Your buttocks is firmed. You're squeezing your glutes. They're engaged. Take a full breath in. And on your exhale, lower down through your spine. Control the descent, one vertebrae at a time. You can release your hands down if you had them in those robot hands. And then when your pelvis gets on the mat, tilt your pelvis forward. And then roll the other direction. Roll the pelvis under, peel your spine up, come back up into that bridge pose. Inhale at the top, and exhale as you roll down through your spine. Inhale at the bottom, exhale, come back on up. This will be our first flow here. Inhaling at the top, and exhaling as we come back down. Inhale, bottom. Some of you might want to add the arms in. As you lift the hips up, reach your arms up all the way towards the wall behind you. And then as you come back down, you're going to feel when those arms need to follow so that you can match the arms and the hands and land just when your pelvis lands. Try and move just behind your breath. So that your breath can lead you into the next pose, into the next movement. Start to move to your own rhythm. Do what feels right for you right here and now on your mat. Take your time. If you get lost, just slow down and breathe. Good, one more. Make it your fullest, your sweetest. Good. When you get your hands and your pelvis down on the mat, just pause, let it all sink in. All right, and then roll over onto your side, push yourself on up. Come on to all fours. Curl your toes under. Lift your knees and hips. We'll come into downward facing dog. In this downward dog, I want us to actually do more of a wide-legged version of it. So I'm going to walk my hands till they're facing you, and then I'm going to step this right foot around. So I have this wide-legged stance of down dog. And then you can walk your hands forward, even getting onto your fingertips. You can see how I'm kind of doing this here. And I'm trying to lift my tailbone up as I lift my armpits up. And then you can bring your sternum maybe a little bit closer to the floor. Keep your legs steady, especially the outer edges of your feet. See if you can make the inner and outer edges of your feet rooting equally into the mat. Moving your breath. Good, and then walk your hands back in. Walk your hands now around to the front of your mat and to where you're into this lunge with your right foot forward, your left leg back. Go ahead and lower your knee to the mat. And then take your right foot and do the heel toe over to the right just a little bit. so that both hands are to the inside of your leg. Firm your legs and bend into the front knee. I'm going to move my hands wide apart so I have a nice foundation to bring the center of my chest down towards the mat. Now you can stay here either on your knee, or some of you a little bit more advanced, you could lift that back knee up as you bring your heart down, your hips down. Even more advanced students, you know where to go, so you're always welcome to deepen the pose. I'll just briefly show what that looks like. Coming onto the forearms. Good, and then let's all make our way back on up. Walk your right foot back. Step your right foot back into downward facing dog. Two more breaths. Last breath. Let's do the other side. Step your left leg forward. Lower your back knee to the mat. Left foot walks a little bit to the left. Open your hands wide. And then hug your legs towards each other. Hopefully you can see that. See that I'm drawing my left foot back and my right knee forward without actually moving, right? It's an isometric movement. Keeping that, bend into the front leg. Adjust your body as you need to. And then same idea. Those of you that want, you can increase the difficulty. I'm keeping my left foot really active, especially the inner edge of my left foot. It's okay to turn that left foot out a little bit too. It doesn't have to stay forward. Good, one more breath. Good, and then come back out of that. Step back onto all fours. And then curl your toes under. Lift your knees and hips, downward facing dog. And from down dog, let's step the right leg forward between the hands into your lunge. Line up your fingertips with your toes. And then I want you to spin the back foot down so it's flat into the mat. And then line up your front foot with the middle of your back foot, more into where it lines up with the arch. And then you're going to have to push down really strong through your legs and bring yourself up into what we call Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Take your hands to your hips. Now, I'm not so worried about trying to square my pelvis towards you, towards the camera. I'm going to let my pelvis kind of go at this. If I had a clock on the floor, it would be like about 10 o'clock. But I am going to try and square my shoulders towards you. Extend the arms out. And now look out over your right hand. Back leg straight. Bend into the front knee. On your next exhale, straighten the right leg. Parallel your legs and feet. Take your hands to your hips. Pause here for a moment. And let's do the other side. Turn the right leg in and the left leg out. Inhale, extend the arms. Exhale as you bend into your left leg. Now we don't have to do that same kind of business with my hands and my hips, right? I could just do it with my arms extended. I could allow my pelvis to go where it wants to, but try and square my chest towards the camera. This left knee, I'm going to look out over my left hand, and I can see in my peripheral vision what my left leg is doing. I want it to track right over the left foot. Right? Avoid letting that left knee collapse inside. So I'm going to firm my left hip, my left buttocks, to keep that leg, the integrity of it, tracking right over my foot. One more breath. On your exhale, straighten the leg. Parallel your legs and feet. And then let's step our feet together. Hands to the hips. Pause. Grab your block. If some of you, if you don't have a block, I'll show you a variation that we can do where we don't necessarily need the block, but I'm going to show both in this next pose, triangle pose, Utthita Trikonasana. Step your feet out wide and turn your left leg in and your right leg out. In this pose, we're going to keep our legs straight. Extend your arms out. Take a full breath in. And with your exhale, reach out as if you're trying to touch the wall. And you're going to come down. You'll make your way down. And then some of you, you'll be able to touch the floor. Other of us will have our hand where we could only reach the ankle. This is where we use our block. If you have your block, take it and like a plumb line, hold it right below your shoulder. Your left hand is on your left hip. Firm your legs and open your chest to the front. Reach your arm up. Firm your legs. Try to stretch your mat apart. Push down through your feet and ground deep into the earth. From this grounding, lengthen your spine. One more breath. With your exhale, come on up. Parallel your legs and feet. Let's do the other side. Right leg turns in, left leg turns out. Inhale. Exhale. Grab your block or use your hand on your shin. I'm going to use my hand on my shin ankle here. Same alignment that we had in Warrior 2 with our feet. This leg that's straight lines up with the middle of the arch of the back foot. When you get your legs set, open your chest. Reach the arm up. And breathe. On your next breath, make your way back on up. Parallel your legs and feet and step your feet together. Good. Come down onto your hands and knees. You can move your block out of the way and come all the way down onto your stomach. Take your hands and place them, your wrists, underneath your forehead like you've made a little pillow. And then make your legs and hips really comfy by inner spiraling your legs. In this pose, we're going to lift our head and chest up. So go ahead and push down through your arms, lift your head and chest up. Now, tendency is you're going to want to tilt your chin forward, right? And probably most of you are doing that so you can see me. But once you see me, I want you to drop your chin and lengthen the back of your neck. Use just as much pressure as you need to lift your head and chest up by pushing through your arms. Good. Firm your legs if they aren't already firmed and pull your belly towards your spine. Take a big breath. And on your exhale, lower down. Now let's add some rhythm and pulsation into this. Inhale, lift your head and chest up. Exhale it down. We'll do a few of these. Inhale, lift up. Exhale down. Now the whole time you're keeping your legs really steady and active. All 10 toes trying to stay on the mat. Imagine as you inhale, your lungs and your chest expand, helping you to lift up. And as you exhale, let it all soften down. 2 more. And last one. And let it come down. And rest. Release your legs.
We'll do this again. We'll add on just a little bit. On this one, we'll start off with the same lifting of the head and chest. But then once we get that going, I want you to keep the back of your wrists attached to your forehead so that your hands and your arms will lift up. Let's try it. Firm your legs, firm around your abdomen. Exhale all your breath out. And on the inhale, lift up. Exhale down. Inhale, lift. Exhale down. Now let's keep our hands attached to our head. Inhale, lift up. Exhale down. Lift it all up with your breath. Exhale down. Let's try and do 3 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale down. And 2. And down. And last one. And down. Good. Let's do child's pose. Glide your hips back. Bring your feet together. Open your knees. Stretch out the low back. Stretch your hips. Good, and then come on onto your side. Come onto your right side and cradle your head in your upper arm. Bend your left leg and reach back to hold your left foot. Just a simple thigh stretch. Put a little bend in your left elbow and draw your heel towards the outside edge of your buttocks. This right foot, keep it awake. You can actually use the outer edge of your right foot to help you keep balance. Sometimes it's a little hard to stay balanced on your side here. Bend your arm, pull your heel towards the outside of your hip. Good. And then release your foot. Let's do the other side. Right leg bends. Hold the top of your foot. Now there's 2 actions going on here. I'm using my arm, the strength of my arm, pulling my heel towards the outside edge of my hip. At the same time, I'm reaching my right thigh, my knee, towards the base of my mat, towards my left foot. And that action creates a strong sensation, I would say, for stretching my quads. And then release the foot. Push yourself on up. If you have a blanket, sit on your blanket. I'm going to show this one from the side here. Sit on the blanket and reach your legs out. Bend your right knee and bring the heel in towards your groin. Actually, I'm sorry. Keep the right foot flat on the floor. This right arm, I want you to reach it way over towards your left foot, left ankle. See if you can grab onto it. Even hold the outside edge of your foot. I'm using this left hand for balance, and I'm letting my right hip come off the mat. This would be the basic version of a pose called Marichyasana, version A. Now, if you want to go a little deeper, we do this action called the binding of the arms. I'll take my right arm, deeply turn it inward so the thumb points down. I'm going to help stabilize my right leg because I'm going to wrap my arm, bending the elbow so much that the back of my hand comes to the back of my hip. this left arm, I'll reach it all the way around until I can grab my fingertips. Now, if some of you can't grab the fingertips, you could use a strap. I don't have a strap here at the moment, but we'll just kind of pretend. If you need to, you could pre-place your strap, hold onto the strap, or even hold your clothing. You could hold your waistband. And then if you can, open up out to the side. Good. Release your hands. Stretch your leg out. Let's try the other side. Left foot fat on the floor. Notice I got a little space here. And then I'll lean forward, using my right hand to help me to lean forward. And I'll hold on to my foot. If you can't reach your foot, like I said, you grab your ankle, your shin. Many of us are just going to stay here, right? Because it feels pretty good, this type of a stretch. If you're going a little bit further, left arm deeply inner spirals. Wrap it around. See how I get the back of my hand on the back of my hip? Right arm is going to reach all the way around. And then I have to kind of flip my hands, my fingers, so that I can attach them. Here in the beginning, just bow over your front leg. Breathe. And then if you can, open up your chest to the side. From your hands, root into your shoulders. Good. And then release your hands. Stretch your legs out. Good. Let's do one of my favorite poses, head to knee pose. You bring your left foot in to where it's deep in the groin here. Pull the flesh from your sit bone so you have a nice firm foundation for your seat. And then turn your torso towards your right leg. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward. Now you can walk your hands forward, framing your front leg and bowing. If you feel as if you can, you could hold on to your leg, your shin or your ankle. Some of you, I know, you could probably hold your feet. Now look at your right knee and observe how you're engaging those muscles around the kneecap. I want you to engage the quadricep, that's the top of your right thigh, and you can see the muscles firm around your knee. Engage the muscles on your leg. That's what I'm asking you to do. Your elbows, bend them out to the side. That'll help you get your shoulders engaged on your back. And you can even drop your chin, head to knee. Good. Inhale as you come up. Let's do the other side. I'm going to shift here so you can see from the angle. Left leg stretches out. Pull the flesh from your sit bones. Turn your torso towards your left leg. My legs here are more of a 90-degree angle. Sometimes we do this in a very widespread, but it's very challenging for many of us, especially the low back area. Engage the leg here in the beginning. Spread your toes. Take a breath in and begin to fold forward. Take your time, listen to your body. This particular side with my left leg forward, I have to be very careful. I've got my own issues with my back and hips. We want to be able to practice so that we stay healthy, we don't hurt ourselves. Because we want to be able to show up the next day, tomorrow, to practice some more. Go where your breath is leading. Maybe it's telling you to back off a little bit. If you want to deepen, go for it.
And your inhale, come on up. Let's move our blanket out of the way. We'll come back onto our backs again. Have your block nearby or a blanket, a couple blankets. We're going to use it to help support our hips in a supported shoulder stand once we get to that pose. But I want you to have those props nearby so you don't have to fuss around. Come onto your back. And we'll just do what we did in the very beginning in that first bridge pose. Grab onto your mat, tuck your shoulder blades underneath you. Feet, walk them in so they're pretty close to your hips. And then lift your hips up. And then see if you can tuck your shoulder blades a little deeper underneath. Push into your feet. From that connection of your feet, see if you can move your chest towards your chin. And without lowering through your spine, just see if you can just lower your hips so the torso comes down in one piece. That's it. Good, and now grab your block. I have to reach over for my block. This one we're going to do a supported shoulder stand. Shoulder stand is a pretty advanced pose, but in this supported way, we still get the inversion for our body, but without so much of the strain. Some of you may just want to take your mat over to a wall and put your legs up the wall. And I'll show that as a variation. But for now, I want you to have your block in your hand, feet close to your hips. Push down through your feet and slide the block underneath your hips. And I'm doing it on the medium side. Actually, I'm sorry, this is the lowest side. This is the lowest setting on the block. And where I line up the block is I take my thumbs and I find my hip bones. And I'll draw a line straight down, and that's where I want the leading edge of the block to be. And I've got to move my block just a little bit. There. And then once you've got the block in the right space, I want you to grab onto your mat again and tuck your shoulder blades under. That's it. Now we're ready to launch off into this. Lift your leg up, and then the other leg. Now you don't have to straighten your legs up here. They just need to have your feet lifted. I want you to pay particular attention to how the back of your pelvis feels on the block. And try and tilt your pelvis forward so that it's flat on the block, right? Rather than, and I'll show the bad thing, letting your spine and everything collapse. It's a little bit of a back bend. You might even feel like you could tuck your shoulder blades under and puff up your chest a little bit more. My knees are bent, my feet are active, legs hovering over my hip sockets. Some of you might work toward straight legs or just a soft bend in your knees. We'll be here for a few more breaths. And then we'll make our way out of it. Here's how we're going to do that. We'll bend our knees a little more deeply and lower one foot and then the other until both feet are firmly on the ground. And then mindful of this transition here off the block, push down through your feet, lift your hips up, and slide the block out from underneath, completely out of the way, and then lower your hips down. Step your feet a little bit wider, more towards the outside edges of your mat. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling. And then knees, let them fall over to the left as you reach your arms even further behind you. Windshield wiper twist. You can take your gaze out over to the right as your knees go over to the left. Adjust your shoulders so they're nice and firmed underneath you. Open your arms wide enough so that you can feel comfort in your shoulders. The feet are active just enough to help support your legs. On your next breath, bring your legs back up to the top. Readjust your feet wide if they came together. And then now let's cross the legs over to the other side. Exhale the legs back up to the top, and then just back and forth a couple times. Inhaling over to the side, exhaling as you come up, and then over to the other side. Back and forth. And then back up to the top. Lift your feet up. Hug your knees into your chest again. Ankles crossed. And then stretch your legs out. For Shavasana, our final pose. Take the time. I'm going to center myself on my mat. If you feel a little cool, you might want to grab a sweater, or you could put the blanket over you. I like sometimes to drape the blanket over the tops of my thighs, and it can help trap some of the heat inside my body as I rest. Make yourself as comfortable as possible. Close your eyes. Rest deeply. We'll be here for a couple minutes. I'll let you know when it's time to get up. Deepen your breathing. Appreciate the flow of energy that comes in with your breath. Start to move your toes, your fingers. Stretch through your legs, stretch your arms overhead. Make your way over onto your side. Pause here for a couple breaths on your side. And push yourself on up to seated. Thank you so much for sharing your practice this afternoon. Namaste.